This is the traditional layout of Excel, where I have my data set. But instead of use this template right here, look what we can do in Excel. A full app with a save button where we can register all the information and append it into the table, our data set. Let me show here an example. I can choose a transaction type, either purchase or sale, but for sure you can create your own form in Excel because this is the purpose of this video. You are going to learn how to do it yourself for any different type of data set: sales, purchasing, HR, logistics, and etc. I'm take here blue casual skirt and as a category, dresses and skirts. Then unit is shipping fee $30 and unit price $19. Excel automatically calculate the total value, and I can also insert here a customer or supplier. But anyway, let me click on the save button. 3, 2, 1, go. Excel immediately take the information I've registered in the form, clean it, and save it in the table here for me. So this is exactly what we are going to do in this video. From any data set you have, we are going to learn how to convert it into a more professional layout. Let's get started creating our app. And I think the first most important step is creating a header, because a header is going to give your template a more polished, professional look. Right now, if I take a look at this data set, I don't know what's going on here. I don't know the purpose. I don't know from what this data set represents. Let's say, is this a sales report, a purchasing report, HR report, freight, and so on? I don't know. Actually, this is a clothing store report, the purchase and sale, purchases and sales. But I don't have the title, right? So let's start with this header. And in order to create the header and also the form itself, we need to have some extra space at the top. In order to have this extra space for both header and form, I'm going to click on the first row, click, hold, and drag to select through maybe several rows. Let's say from the first to the 10th row. Now I can click on this select range, right click, go to insert, and I have some blank rows or extra space. I want to start with the first row, and guys, remember, I'm going to use here some colors that I think are good enough. However, if you prefer a different color, blue, yellow, orange, go for it, right? You can choose any color you like. Let's say Home tab with the first row selected. I can go to the painting bucket. And for this case, I'm going to use a light gray. In the second row, we're going to do the same, and also maybe in the third row. And in the fourth row, I'm going to highlight it as a dark gray. In this first area that we highlighted, first, second, and third, we can give it a name. Let's say I'm going to click straight on cell B2 and give the name of my template. In this case, it's my name, so John's Clothing Store. And also, I can let the word app in the final phrase, right? John's Clothing Store app. Hit enter. What we can also do, we can increase the font size quite a bit to make it easier to see. Let me change the font color as well to a medium gray. I can also go for some effects, bolding, for example. And in this darker row that we have, the fourth one, we can insert the today's date. But not just the month, the day, and the year, but actually the full date, the day of the week, the day of the name of the month, and etc. But imagine if you do this task every single day. Every day you need to open up here your template, go to cell A4, and type in the today's date. I don't want to have this label every day. So what I can do, I can automate this task by using the equals sign and then today formula. Double click on this formula, 1, 2, and hit enter. What Excel is going to do, it's going to return the today's date based on your computer date. It's going to take the date of your system, right? Mine, as you guys can see, it's day 22 of 2026. June, right? Let me also click, hold, and drag a couple of cells to merge and center. Click on this tool. And let me change the fill color, or actually the font color, to white. it's easier to see the date. I can also put everything in bold, increase quite a bit, and align it to the left. And also, instead of seeing the date only like numbers, we can change the format instead of date to a long date. Now, as you guys can see right here, today, at least for me, is Monday, June 22nd of 2026. Much better. And remember, every time you open again your template, Excel is going to update automatically this formula because it's based on your computer dates. Now, let me increase quite a bit again the text, the title of my template. And now for the sixth row, I want to give a different title because here is where we are going to create our form. So data entry form. I want to increase quite a bit the font size, put everything here in green, bold, and some other effects. For this data set underneath, I can do something similar. So let me go to data entry form. That is the text I did. I can press Ctrl C, and then I can use Ctrl V to copy and paste. Ctrl C, Ctrl V, just above the data set. But instead of use the data entry form in green and also this name right here, we can change the name and also the color. But let's start with the name. Those values, those information are gonna be my history, right? So I can call it something like database or maybe transactions. Okay. I can also change the font color to a dark gray. And for the form itself, I can manually create all the fields, but I don't need to do this manually because I already have here the columns that I'm gonna use. Date, transaction type, category, product name, quantity, etc., etc. I can simply click, hold, and drag the first and the second row because the first row contains the labels and the second row contains the values, and I can use those values with those formatting, let's say date formatting, number formatting, currency formatting, to help me just gain some time right here, right? Save time. Control C, go to cell A7, and then Control V. Of course, you can also change the format of the number or of the value by clicking on the cell, such as date, home tab. Instead of use general, you can change to date. Instead of using a number, you can change it to currency, and etc. So we can adjust the format that you need. And now I can select everything I have here, guys. The first and the second row of the data entry form, go to the home tab, and I can align in the center and in the middle, horizontally and vertically. And because everything is selected, we can also go to all borders, and maybe we can change the fill color, the font color, let's say the header. I can change the background to a vivid green and the font color to white. And I can also put everything in bold to make it easier to see. And as the values that I type in here, I will select everything, go to the font color and use some sort of green, maybe like this one right here. Another improvements we can do are, let's say, increase the column width, click, hold, and drag between one column and another to increase the width, the length of the column. And also for the transaction type, we only have here two options. It's going to be either purchase or sale. So instead of manually type anytime the same option over and over again, what we can do is creating a data validation or a list in simple words. A list in Excel is like a drop-down list. Whenever we click on the cell, we have a list to choose between those two options. And to do a list in Excel, we can go to the cell, go to data, all the way here to data validation. We can change, allow any value to allow only a list. And my list is going to be right within this formula bar. And the first option that I want to have is going to be purchase. So purchase, comma. The comma symbol allows us to separate between the first and the second option. and the third one, the fourth, the fifth, and etc. Because I only want to use two options here, that is going to be purchase and sale. I'm going to just write purchase, comma, sale. That's it. But if you have a third option, you can continue with comma, 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 and etc. Okay. Now I can change between purchase and sale. Very simple. I can just switch between those two values. And on top of that, I may also create a conditional formatting to automatically highlight, color the cell as I want. Let's say purchase can be a yellowish color. The background becomes yellow. And as the sale, the background becomes maybe red. And because within the column B, I have those criteria, instead of click, hold, and drag manually the range, I can go straight to the entire column B. I think it's easier. And then Home tab, conditional formatting, highlight cells rules equal to, every time I have purchase, I want to highlight the value with a yellowish color. Okay. But if I have sale, let me select again the whole column B. I want to go to Home tab, conditional formatting, highlight cells rules equal to, I want to highlight with a red. Yeah, that's it. I think it's good enough. Okay. I can simply change between those two options, and whenever I choose one, the fill color is also updated for me. As category and also the product name can be both a list in Excel. Because let's say instead of manually try to figure out a category, type in manually every time the product name, etc., etc., we can save a lot of time by creating a list. But the problem is, imagine within that little formula bar, you type in all those names and separate those names with a comma. It's going to take a long time to complete this list. So what we can do here is we can open up another tab in Excel, go into the footer, go to New Sheet, and we can use this New Sheet to help us with the list. Let me right click right here and go to Rename, and we can give it a meaningful name, simply Lists, enter. And as the list, we can start with category or categories in plural, and also products, enter. I can also increase the length, the vertical length of both of those columns. I can align everything in the middle, and as the header, I can go with whichever color I want. Let's say a purple one. Why? Because just to make it different. As the category, I can type in here all the categories I have. And one suggestion you can do is, if you already have some data into your template, you don't need to type again manually all those categories or all the information you want to convert it into a list. What you can do basically is you can select everything, copy by using Ctrl+C, go to the lists, and underneath the name, you can paste it, Ctrl+V. However, we have many repeated values, such as pins and charts. They appear multiple times in this list. So what we can do right now, we can remove those duplicates. With the entire range selected, we can go to Data, and there is a tool here that is the Remove Duplicates. Very straightforward. Just click right here, click OK, and Excel remove all the duplicate values. Now we have only unique values. And because we might have different options in the future, I don't want to only keep up with those 4 different rows. Maybe I can go with 10 or 15 different rows, or even more. I can click, hold, and drag because of that. A couple of more rows. I can leave it a blank extra area right here to the category that can appear in the future. I can go to the Home tab and put borders in everything. And then this is going to be our range for the list with those extra spaces to the extra categories in the future. And for the product, we can basically do the same. We can go to the product, select everything, copy everything, paste underneath the products, and etc. But remember, guys, if you want to insert something manually, you can do. There's no problem at all. I'm just trying to save time right here because I already have my data set, so some transactions. But if I didn't have anything, I'm going to need to insert manually all the products and categories or all the other lists I might have. Select everything, date, and again, let me remove the duplicates. Okay. Okay, again, that's it. Because I have products and the products may be larger than the categories itself, I can select more rows, leave more extra space for the future, and put borders in everything. And also with the product, I can use a similar format. Select everything and go to the alignment settings. So align everything vertically and horizontally. I think now it's good enough. We have the category and the products. We can go back to our data entry form and create the lists to be used in the category and also in the product name. Hey guys, seriously, I don't know if you all can see, but there's a mosquito flying around me. I'm gonna pause the video just for 5 seconds. All right, let's get back to work. Category and product name, as I said, we need to transform it into a list. Let me start first with the category because those are going to be different lists. So first, we need to do the first one and then the second one individually. Category, go to data and data validation. The cool part is when we change, instead of allowing a value to a list, we don't actually need to write down all the names for the category. We can straight go to this up arrow and select the range that we have on the last sheet lists. Click, hold, and drag all the way through those cells. Go to down arrow again, okay, and we're done. Our category is ready to be used. Let's say I want to stick with the last one, hoodies and jackets. And if you see the length of the column is not enough, we can go to between one column and another, click, hold, and drag to the right to increase the width, right? And as the product name, I want to do the same. Go to data, data validation. Instead of allow any value, I want to allow a list. Up arrow, go to list, select everything, even the blank cells. Down arrow, okay, and we're good to go. And let me choose here a different item. Maybe I can go with this hoodie right here. Quantity, I sold 5 units. The shipping fee was $30. Unit price was $59. And how can I calculate the total value? Imagine if I do this calculation manually every single time I register a product. It's going to be something very annoying, right? And of course, we're going to spend so much time doing that. We can automate this task by using a simple formula. In this case, what I want to do is the shipping fee not refer to the one unit of the product itself, but for the whole transaction. So we need to adapt this value later on the calculation. I need to do first unit price times quantity, and then the result adds to the shipping fee. Let me get rid of the total value right here, delete, equals, and the formula is going to be something like open parentheses, unit price times quantity, close parentheses. Okay, because we are doing a multiplication in Excel, we don't need to put the formula within parentheses because the mathematical order, multiplication is more important than the addition, right? So it's anyway it's going to be the first operation to be done. But just in case, I like to use parentheses because I feel more comfortable with. Do first the multiplication and then we can add the shipping fee into the equation. Hit enter. Now we have the total value being calculated automatically. If we change the quantity, shipping fee, or the unit price, the total value is going to be automatically updated. Let's say the quantity, 10 units, enter. Automatically updated, and etc. Customer or supplier. In my case, guys, I don't think it's necessary to create a drop-down list right here because customer/supplier can vary a lot. So I don't want to spend that much time creating a list for the customers and the suppliers. I'm just going to leave this field to be manually used. And in this case, I'm going to go with something, let's say my customer is Joseph. Enter. That's it. How can I now insert those information into my data set itself? We can create a button here to the side of our form, and also transform the data set itself into a table. But why should I transform this range into a table? Because I think tables have a lot of benefits that I'm going to show you guys. Select everything all the way down, click, hold, and drag all the way down, because we need to convert everything into a table. Go to the Home tab. We can align vertically and horizontally everything. We can go to Insert Table. Be sure you mark the option My Table Has Headers, because indeed we have some headers, such as date, transaction type, category. All those top names in the first row, those labels are called headers. Go to OK. Now we have this Excel table, and if you prefer, you can also change the layout. One layout that I like very much is the gray one, because in this context right here of creating a form, I think it's matched properly. Let me go with this one right here, light gray. Okay, that's it. Let me go back to at the top. Okay, everything's working. Now to create the button, we can simply go to Insert, Shapes, and take a rectangle, maybe with rounded corners. Click, hold, and drag to draw the area. And if you think your rectangle is not the way you like, what you can do, you can go to those circular handles, click, hold, and drag inwards, outwards, and etc. to change the area. I'm going to stick with mine like this, double click within, and to just have a meaningful name to this button, because I don't want to leave the button without a name, just to make it more clear to use this app. I think to have a name within the button is something intelligent to do. Maybe we can go with save transaction, or simply save, or save it. I don't know. Let me just be very short here. Save. Select the text, go to Home tab, increase the font size quite a bit, align everything vertically and horizontally, put everything in bold, go to shape format, and I want to choose a different style here, maybe this last one, intense effect, green accent 6. That's it. Every time now I click on this button, I want to Excel take all the information I register, copy and paste in the table underneath. And not just to replace something that I already registered, but to append to the table itself. And just something very important, the total value is a formula. I think it's maybe smart to change the background color to a different color, just to us know that it's not just a simple value, but a formula. The color that I always like to use is gray, but because we have a lot of gray in the template, let me go with yellow. And also we can go with bold in a different effect like this. Okay, and to use the save button, we need to create an automation in Excel. And in order to create an automation, we need to have the developer tab enabled on our ribbon. But let's say you don't have, or you can't find the developer tab on your Excel. What we can do, we can go to Home tab, clicking any blank spot with the right click, go to the customize the ribbon, and with this new dialog box, we can change popular commands to all tabs. Here, we must find the developer. Let's say I just find it right here, developer. I click on it, click on add, and then click on OK. Simple as that. This is how you can enable the developer tab. And the tool that we are going to use within the developer is going to be record macro. Basically, record macro, as we can see in this little tag, in this little legend, is going to allow us to save all the commands we do, all the clicks. Let's say you go to a certain cell, change the fill color to yellow, and then type ABC. The macro is going to see what you're doing, and it's going to do the same process again and again and again. It's a smart way to store the clicks and then to run those actions. Record macro, and it's basically what we need to do right here. We're going to take the information within the form, copy and paste into the table. As the macro name, I can give it a meaningful name. Let's say, save it into the table. However, if I insert a large name with multiple words like I did here and use a space to separate them and hit OK, Excel is not going to allow me to continue with the macro because I cannot use a space. Instead, let's say we can use underscore, save underscore eat underscore, etc., etc. Okay, now we can go to OK, and everything we do right now is going to be stored. So we need to be very mindful right now. Let me click on the first row of the table, but not the headers, right? So row 12, right click, go to insert a table rows above. Because right now we have a blank row. And within this blank row is where we want to insert, append the information within the form. We can select the whole data that we insert in the form. We want to copy, but be careful. We are not going to use the paste option. We are going to do something slightly different. Right click, copy, go to the first cell. Be mindful right now, it's not just to use the copy and paste option. Right click here and go to the second option, paste as values. But why is that? Because when we paste as values, Excel is not going to use the formatting we have in the form. Let's say we have a green color for the font, but right now we have this black font. This is different, right, than we had in the form. And also the total value. It's in bold and also with a yellow background. But in the table, we have the standard total value for everything. So this is exactly what I need. I don't want to copy and paste everything, but just the values, just the result we see in the cell. Now, guys, we can go back to the form. In the first cell, we can click, delete, and get rid of all the informations but the formula. Be mindful about that, right? We don't want to get rid of the formula. So, because if so, we're gonna need to do it all over again. Okay, we copy and paste the information, append it into the table, clear the form. Now we need to stop. We already did the automation. Go again to the developer, stop recording, go to the button, right click on it, go to assign macro, choose the macro that you did, click OK, and now it's working. Let me show you here an example. As the date, January 1st, 2027, transaction type, let me go with a different one right now, purchase. As the category, I want to have dresses and skirts. Product name, let's say this one right here, quantity 10, shipping fee 0, unit price $100, and customer is going to be Anna, for example, enter. If I click on the OK button, look what's going to happen. 3, 2, 1, go. It's working, right? The macro takes the entire data we fill in the data entry, copy and paste it into the table in order to append the new information to the table, and then clean the whole data from the form. And if we compare with the previous template that we have in the beginning of the video with the traditional template of Excel, it's way better already. However, on top of that, we can continue to improve the layout of the template. Let me show here an example. If you go to the View tab, you have multiple options to choose. Grid lines, formula bar, headings, and etc. If you uncheck all those options, look what's going to happen. And furthermore, if we double click on any option of our ribbon, let's say View tab, double click on it, 1, 2, Excel is going to collapse the menu. And if you double click again, 1, 2, you can expand it. So you can use the way you like. Let's say I want to use this collapsed version, for example. It's way better to use. It's actually look like an application. And be mindful right now, because we did everything. We don't want to lose the steps, the macro, and anything else. So it's important to save properly your Excel file. We are not going to use the traditional extension that is XLSX, but instead we need to save it as macro. So go to the File menu, and over here you can click Save As and then Browse. You can basically save it anywhere on your computer, but the important thing is here, Save As Type. You need to choose the second option, Excel Macro Enabled Workbook. You can give it a name and then just save it. Let's say, My App in Excel. That's it. Go to the Save button and you're good to go. This is how we can transform any template of Excel, any data set, any table into a app, modern with polished layout and etc. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you have any questions or suggestions to the next videos, let me know, comment down below, and I see you in the next video.